Hi everyone, welcome back to the Nerd Stuff and AI. This is the part 2 of Investor Intelligence Agent walkthrough. If you haven't watched part 1, I recommend checking that first because it explains the full workflow architecture, parsing logic, and routing engine in detail. In this video, I'll only focus on what's new in the Sprint 2. So let's go to our workflow. Basically, the workflow has been divided into part 1 and part 2, as I have explained earlier also in the part 1 of the investor intelligence agent walkthrough video. So let's go to the part 2 first, and we will run that first. So basically, this workflow is divided into two parts. The This part, the first part is consist of the data sources from which we are collecting. I have added here one more node, which is the RSS node, which simply consists of the URL of the Crunchbase. So we are getting more data from this. If you want to add this RSS feed, you just have to go to this node and just add RSS read. Now, if we are taking the input from two data sources. So I have added this merge node. Basically, you have to click on append and then select the number of inputs as 2. If there were number of inputs as 3, then you have to select for the 3 inputs. Now I have added one more node here, which is the normalized data. So it's just normalizing the data into this investor name, startup name, and the round time. In Sprint 2, I improved three major components: SQL accuracy, top investors logic, and the formatter node. So let's go to the part 1, which I can explain better for this three improvements. So this is the webhook node from which the URL, like, it's listening. So the SQL accuracy is basically like fixed investor profile queries with proper aggregation and the deal history. Here is the investor profile query, as you can see. Second one was the top investor logic. Added a full ranking system with deal counts, capital deployed, and startup summaries, as I'll also show you in the output, which is basically more clean and structured. And I have also completed this as completely upgraded to support cleaner markdown, structured sections, and the follow-up suggestions, as you can see this. So this improvement make the chatbot responses much richer and fully accurate. I'll quickly show the output. Here is our investor intelligence chatbot. Let's run this question. So here is the question of tell me about Sequoia Capital. The answer: Sequoia Capital has participated in one investment, deploying approximately of this amount. Now on screen, you can see there are a few questions like top investor AI, top AI investor, about Sequoia, recent funding, open AI investors, robotic investors. All responses now come formatted with titles, highlights, startup list, as well as the raw data, as you can see here, and the follow-up questions. What's happening behind the scene? So, under the hood, almost all these improvements come from rewriting the sequel in the part 2 and rebuilding the formatter logic in part 1. As I have told you earlier, also, this workflow is divided into two parts. So, part 1 is basically parsing, routing, and formatting engine. Part 2 consists of all SQL logic with investor profiles, recent deals, top investors, and the startup investor mapping. So together they create a full investor intelligence system. I can show you one more output. Now, let's see one more output, like who are the top AI investors. Now you can see the answer is here. Here are the most active and influential AI investors: Meta, Microsoft, Nvidia. As you can see, all the raw response as well, and the suggestion follow-ups questions. So that wraps up Sprint 2. Thanks for watching it, and feel free to explore the repository or test the workflow using the included HTML here. And if you want more details, you can just simply click on Sprint2 README, and these are the Sprint2 JSON files. And if you have any doubts or if you want to connect with me, you can just go on LinkedIn and type Anshika Khandelwal. I'll be happy to connect. Thank you for watching.